Hey, everybody, it's Tiffany. Welcome back to the Rebuild Talks with Tiffany. Listen, I'm so excited. Today I have joining me Toussaint Derby. You have to hear about this fabulous woman. I mean, she is an incredible person, and I'm so excited to have you here. Toussaint, welcome.
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I've tried to figure out like how to start the talk,
Yeah,
how do we get into it? Why don't we start with an introduction? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
absolutely. So I am originally from Shaker Heights, Ohio, right outside of Cleveland. I haven't lived there in a very long time. I've moved around
Mhm,
quite a bit, but I'm
mhm.
now in New Jersey. I have a 7-year-old son. I have a bonus daughter. I am an avid reader, always have been. And um, I have a degree in graphic design, which I haven't used in a very long time. Have worked most of the time in fashion. I've done interior
Wow.
design, and now more recently, I've written my first book, and I'm hoping that this is my like my third act. So I'm excited about it.
I'm excited. I'm excited as well. I'm excited
Thank
as
you.
well. So you and I know each other from working at a luxury fashion brand
Huh?
where, that's how we know
Uh-huh.
each other.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Tell me, was that how you started working in graphic design? Tell me a little bit about what you did there.
Yeah. No. So graphic design. My first job out of college was I was the graphic designer for a commercial real estate firm in Cleveland, Ohio, and I remember thinking at the time they don't need a full-time person. They need somebody like freelance. Like it just did not make sense. So
Mm,
that's the only job I've ever had that was graphic design.
yeah.
And so where we met, I actually started at the flagship location doing visual merchandising. And then I was only there for a year though, because I was filling in for the head of VM who was out on maternity leave at the time. So I was kind of her fill in while she was out. And I moved to where we met to the office as I came on as admin, actually. I was an administrative assistant.
Mhm.
And I had done some project management at my previous company where I had been for like 11 years. Just all of my, I turned all of the stuff that I have done into I can do this admin thing. And it actually really worked out because I had just gotten married. I had gotten married this September and I started in January at the flagship. And then I got pregnant with my son, and so I kinda needed a palate cleanser and was
Yeah.
kinda not sure, like, what's happening next and didn't want anything too high stakes, and so that's what I was doing when you and I met.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mhm,
to me, I feel like you have such a strong creative feel to you.
mhm.
How did you discover your creativity? What was little Toussaint like? How did you figure out these things about yourself?
Yeah, so I was painfully shy as a kid. So I was spent a lot of time at home by myself. My sisters are a lot older than I am, so I was kinda like an only child for a very long time. And I can remember, I see myself right now. I can remember at my mom's house after my parents got divorced, I would sit on the front stairs. Do you remember a show I don't know, you may or may not remember it. A show in the early yeah, it had to be in the early 90s. Clarissa Explains It All. It was on Nickelodeon.
Absolutely,
Okay,
of
right. Okay, right.
course.
So Melissa Joan Hart, right? So she always had on these crazy outfits. So
Absolutely.
right? And she mixed prints and things like that. So I used to sit and draw these outfits. I can't say they were very good. I was not a great illustrator, Tiffany. I'm certainly not saying that, but I would do like, plaid pants and polka dot shirts and all of
Mhm.
this stuff. And so I feel like that's kind of like where it really started.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
See,
then, I mean, for you to love it enough to say, like, you would go into graphic design, like, what's the thought process behind saying, "I love this enough that I really wanna study this?"
yeah, so that was not a linear thing. So I come from a family of educators. My father is an educator, my mother was an educator, my grandfather was a teacher. And my mom is a boomer. My dad is like what is it called? The lost generation, the generation before that. So like it was all about
Mhm.
you go to school for a job that's gonna make you money and give you benefits.
Yeah.
And so that's not, silly things like the
Mhm.
arts. So for
Yeah.
instance, my oldest sister was an amazing designer, like fashion designer. She could sew. My mother taught her how to sew, didn't teach me, but she taught my sister how to sew. She used to make her dance team uniforms, and my parents were like, "No, absolutely not. You cannot go to school for fashion design because you will not make a living." And I really feel like she could have done that. But I digress. So for me, when I went away to college, I went to Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, and at the time, they had just been named the number 1 university in the country,
Mm.
and there was a big push about their business school. So I said, "All right, that's it. I'm gonna go for business." It was a 5-year MBA program. I really didn't know what that meant exactly, if I'm being completely honest. I just knew I had to do I honestly don't think I knew that the arts could be a job, if I'm being completely honest now when I think about it
Oh,
now. And when I work around young people now, and I hear they studied interior design for school. I never knew that that was something you could go to college for. But anyway, I did great that first semester, Tiffany. I fought hard for that 3.2 GPA.
yeah. Yeah.
Not so much the second semester. So by sophomore year,
Mhm.
I was like, something has to change. I went from early childhood education, then I realized I don't like kids enough to teach them all day. So like that's
That
not
part. That
happening.
part.
That right. And then I did photography for a little while, and I enjoyed photography. And then I took a graphic design class. It was sort of like a graphic design class, but it was not on the computer. I just remember this one project we did, and we had to make something out of different pictures for magazines, and I really enjoyed that. But when I transferred my second year, so right before my junior year, I transferred back home. I struggled with anxiety, and so I was having a hard time. I went home, and that summer, I got a piece of paper, drew a line down the middle, and on one side, I wrote things I like, and on the other, things that I'm good at. I was trying to put things together because I was always in gifted programs, but I never really liked school. I never felt prepared for school. And now, as a 45-year-old who was just recently diagnosed with ADHD, I understand why I didn't really like school.
Yeah.
So it was important for me to find something that I was going to hold my attention and that I felt that I was good at. I don't know how I saw the art and I saw the computers and I said, "Oh, maybe I can make this graphic design." So I found a program in Cleveland at Cleveland State University, and that's kind of what did it, just needing to have something that was going to keep my attention for the last 2 years of college.
Wow. Wow. I love the getting the piece of paper and kinda just putting what am I good at next
Yeah.
to what do I like. It's actually
Yeah.
a process that people should use more frequently.
Tiffany, I should
Uh,
use it right now. I
yeah.
tell that story sometimes and I'm like, why don't you do that now?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a powerful process. I think what happens
Mhm.
is because it seems simple to people, they're like, "Oh, there's
Right.
gotta be more to it." There's
Mhm.
no more to it.
No.
It's literally
Mm-mm.
that easy. It's
Yep.
literally that easy.
That's it.
Wow. So I really that's so interesting. I love that you did that. And so I was surprised when I first saw you working in interior design. What? I so love that. I mean, I think that that is such a space, like you said, like who some people don't even realize that that is a
Mm-mm.
whole career. People build their
Mhm.
lives around
Around it.
interior design.
Mhm.
What tell me a little bit about the mindset that makes you say, "Hey, I could do this."
So the mindset was not I could do it at first. The
Mhm.
mindset was I had a friend who she had just her and her husband had just bought a house in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn, and she knew that I was creative. She wanted help picking out colors, like paint colors and things like that for her house, and kind of like help with like maybe what the vision could kind of look like. And so for me, it was very low stakes. She's a friend. She knows I'm creative. She just wants a little advice. So I do that for
Mhm.
her. I don't charge her. She's my girlfriend. I just go to help her out. A couple
Yeah.
months later, I get this phone call from someone that I have never met before, a woman, and she says, "We have a mutual friend. She gave me your information. I just bought my childhood home in East New York, Brooklyn, and I need a designer, and she told me to call you." I didn't call this woman back, Tiffany. Weeks went by. I was like, "Why is she calling me? I'm not an interior designer." Like,
Yeah.
didn't call her back. So my friend calls me and she says, "Toussaint, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm not a designer. Like, why?" She said, "Listen, just call her, talk to her, see what she needs, and then make a decision from there. But call the woman." So I called her. Turned out she ended up being my first client. I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. She was my first client, one of my favorite clients because she really kind of just let me do whatever.
I
She was
love
like,
that.
"You just," right. She was like, "You just do it, you know."
Yeah.
And I was really proud of it. I could certainly see how I've grown since then. That was like 2017, if I recall correctly. Yeah, because it was, no, that was like 2016. It was 2016 because it was before I had my son, well before I had my son. And it kind of went from there. So then she was my first client for a very long time.
Mhm.
And then when the company that you and I work for was requesting or worked for started having people come back into the office after COVID, I couldn't do it. I had a young kid. I had 2
Yeah.
young kids at the time, and so my son, he wasn't even in kindergarten yet. So it was like, I can't, there's no school and aftercare. I don't we did not make nanny money. You
Right.
know what I mean? So like there was not that was not the option. So I had to leave, and before there's a lot of overlapping here, so forgive me if I'm making a long story long, but before I left, I was looking for a part-time job, trying to figure out same kind of thing, what's next? Because again, I said that being an admin was a palate cleanser, but I knew it's not what I wanted
Mm.
to do long term. I needed something more creative.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, how can I get into the design thing, especially because I don't have a degree in interior design. And I saw an ad online for an online interior design company. I applied, and so I started doing that in my spare time. So when I left my full-time job,
Mhm.
a couple of weeks later, I get an email that from the online interior design company that my my team lead essentially, and the feedback that they've gotten from my clients has all been super positive, and they had a role in headquarters that they wanted to meet with me about. And so that's
Wow.
how I ended up doing interior design full time I was there for about 3.5 years, something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I know you have this thing around excellence, and I know that your work is everything you do is with a level of excellence.
That's very
And
kind.
I think what I'm interested in is how you bring that excellence
Mhm.
to like, I would not have known that you had not decided years ago that being an admin was your dream because you did it at such a high level. You did it at such a high level. So how do you bring that excellence to every single thing, that you do?
It's first I'm going to say thank you, because and I think everybody would probably say this about a lot of people would say this about themselves. But I know I'm my own worst critic. And when I hear the term, I'm just gonna say it, it's Black History Month. When I hear the term Black excellence, I don't think of myself when I hear that. So to have someone else say that, I appreciate that a lot. I think I anything that I'm doing, even if it's not the dream job or position or whatever, I want to do a good job at it. Like I've had this conversation, and even recently, I don't take a job because I want to be bad at it. I take a position because, regardless, it's something that I want to bring my best self to. And, it's for me, it's like it's that thing, you go somewhere and there's somebody in the service, in service who is clearly does not want to be there. And it's like, well, you don't have to be here. You know what I
Right.
mean? But if you're
Right.
going to
Right.
be here, let's bring our best self. And so I think, I guess that's how I feel. I believe also in just being good to people. A lot of times I feel like that excellence that you're talking about, I think that people think, or, I guess maybe may think of when they think of me, really a lot of times just boils down to how I treat people more than anything.
Mm.
Because there's no need to be nasty.
So, I mean, my next, like, of course I got to go to, so where did that come from? Like what?
My
Because that, I don't
Yeah,
know that that's necessarily innate to many people,
sure.
especially with the world that we're seeing now. So
Yeah,
where do you think that came from?
valid point. They definitely came from my dad. I can remember, so he was a school administrator
Hmm.
in the district that I grew up in Shaker. And so he had a pretty high position. And I just remember he talked to everybody the same. The cleaning people,
Yeah.
they knew his name. They would shake hands. They would catch up. It
Yeah.
was just, he was the same with everybody. And I think just as a kid that resonated with me because
Mhm.
it's a, it's, it's a title.
Yeah.
It's not who you are, right? Like we're all people and we all have things that are going on and we all deserve respect. And I will also say I will mirror energy as well, right?
Eh,
So when
A
I
whole
say that
fact.
we all deserve, right? When I say that we all deserve respect, let's take that with a grain of salt. But
Yeah.
I am a kind person. I believe in that wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
Particularly, it's a reciprocal thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
ought to be a
I
reciprocal
totally agree
thing.
with you. I totally agree with you. I think so. There's so many things that I'm interested here. I think the first thing is that honestly, really feel like there is something about being a daddy's girl that it allows you a sense of freedom that I think not everybody has.
Hmm.
And I think that allows you the freedom to be excellent. I think it also creates a standard.
Sure.
Like having a
Mhm.
dad is like,
Mhm. Yeah.
I tell people, you're not going to talk to me anyway. Okay.
No.
You're not going to talk to me any old way because I got a dad. And if you don't want to talk to me, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
confidence is a standard that has to be met, their
Yeah.
expectations, because I got a dad. And especially when you have a good dad, like
Yeah.
I know my dad is coming home with a paycheck and he's going to take care of
Yep.
his family. And so
Yep.
there's a safety that comes with that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
1,000%. The first thing that would when you just mentioned that, it made me think of the summer I was learning how to swim. My parents put me in swimming lessons, and my dad put me in
Mhm.
swimming lessons. The year I was going into 6th grade, I believe. And the
Yeah.
swimming instructor made me swim across the deep end, like 12 feet, and I just was not ready. And I'm terrified. She's there with me, but I'm terrified the whole entire time. I get across to the other side, I climb out, and I'm sure I said something to her. I
Yeah.
walked my happy behind downstairs to the janitor's office and I said, "Can I please use your phone? I have on my bathing suit. I don't have a towel." They let me use the phone. I called my dad and I said, "She made me swim across and I was not comfortable. Please come and get me." What did he do? He came and got me. And he was like, I get that you're teaching her, but if she's terrified, this is not what we're
Absolutely.
doing right now." And
Absolutely.
I'm sure it was a little bratty, but listen, he came and he was there and they had a conversation.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
And I'm sure it taught her about how to treat other people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When you have a good dad, that's what
Yep.
happens.
It
That's
is.
what happens. I also think, honestly, that having a good dad helps to guide your decision making. And so even your
Yes,
decision,
for
because you have a
sure.
level of confidence that other people don't have. So I think even your decisions to pivot in this way. So I wonder a little bit about, and we will talk about your most recent pivot,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
tell me a little bit about like when you're about to make a pivot, what comes up for you? Like, what are you thinking? What are the top, few thoughts that you have as you're making these pivots in graphic design and then saying, okay, no, I'm going to work as an admin. Okay, no, I'm going to work in creative visual. No, I'm going to work in, like what kind of, yeah, what kind of thoughts come to mind for you?
The first thought is fear,
Mm,
to be completely honest. The first thought is I have to make sure that I have good health insurance. So again,
yeah,
the parents that I had, that has been drilled into me since before I even needed to think about health insurance, right? So like
yeah,
you got to
yeah,
have health insurance. You got to have a steady paycheck every 2 weeks.
right.
Um so that's kind of like the first thought, but then I think after that the thought is I want to be happy. I want to
Mm,
enjoy what I'm doing. Spend especially when I lived in New York, and even though I'm just across the river in Jersey, but when I was in the city in particular, I moved to New York. I moved to New York from Atlanta. I moved to New York to grow in my career, and I really felt that I at the time, I definitely felt like I had a trajectory that I knew where I wanted to go. I got there and realized this was not what I wanted at that time at, like, 33. If it had been, or that was, like, 35. It had been 10 years earlier, I'd have been on it, but at 35,
Right.
it was like, "Yeah, no, that's not the thing." So, I mean, if you spend so much time at work with people that are not your friends or loved ones, I don't wanna be miserable all day, every
Yeah.
day, and I also don't wanna feel like, well, I don't necessarily, even now, still feel like I fully understand my purpose here on earth exactly, or what I'm supposed to be doing with myself, every day for a living. I do know that God made me a creative person, and that's something that I couldn't avoid any longer because it started to
Yeah.
feel it started.
Ooh, that part right there. That part right there. I think what's so interesting about that is that there's so many people that are not living their life in an aligned way,
Yeah.
and so they start feeling repressed,
Mhm.
suppressed,
Mhm.
diseased, dysfunctional, all
Mhm.
sorts of disses because
Mhm.
they're not living in a way that's aligned. And so I really appreciate you saying that. I think that a part of our responsibility is to, if we know we're supposed to do something, then we need to just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially as a creative. Like
Right.
if you know you're supposed to be
Exactly.
creative in a certain way, you just got to do it. Yeah. Stay tuned. We will be back to Toussaint to tell us about her most recent pivot.
Thank
Listen, you
you.
have to come back.
Anytime.
You got to come back because there's more for us to dive into. But I'm really thankful that you joined us today. And
Same.
yeah, yeah, I'll be happy to have you back whenever you
Thank
want.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tiffany. This was a lot of fun.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, that's another episode of The Rebuild Talks with Tiffany. So glad that we had the opportunity to talk with Toussaint Blue, author, creator, just woman extraordinaire. I mean, there's so many hyphenates that we could give her. Rebuild family, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and make sure you tell someone about this episode. Someone who might be waiting to pull the trigger on doing something creative that they really want to do. Let them know that there's support and there are women out here doing incredible things. I can't wait to see you all on the next episode of The Rebuild. Bye.